We're now on episode 3 of our Big Four interview series. Last time we walked you through a PwC junior consultant interview, and before that, it was Deloitte. Today, we're stepping into an EY interview room.
You definitely look the part, but looking the part is the easy bit. I mean, the real question is, are you ready to actually get inside the mind of an EY recruiter for this deep dive?
I hope so.
No.
I've done my homework on EY. I know their main purpose is building a better working world, but honestly, that sounds a bit like like a bumper sticker. So I have a feeling you're going to test me on what that actually means in practice.
You bet I am. So for everyone listening here is how this is going to work. I'm going to play the role of a senior manager or recruiter at EY, and you are the candidate applying for a junior consultant role.
Right, and we're going to simulate the actual interview flow.
Yeah, exactly. We'll go through 4 phases, a warm-up, then some behavioral questions using the STAR method, then competency questions, and finally the questions that you ask me.
And crucially, we're going to pause the tape after my answers so we can sort of dissect the psychology behind them. I want you to tell me if my answers actually land or if I just think they sound good.
Deal. As a recruiter, I'm looking for 3 things here: mindset, skill set, and values. You ready to enter the hot seat?
Let's do it.
All right. Good morning. It's great to meet you. I've reviewed your resume, and it looks like you've had some interesting experiences. To kick things off, why don't you just tell me a little bit about yourself?
Thank you. Well, to give you a quick snapshot of my background, I've always been someone who loves connecting the dots. In university, I focused heavily on business analytics and management, graduating with top marks because I was just fascinated by how data drives decision-making.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, I'm working as a freelance analyst where I pride myself on being a diligent creative collaborator. I've been using data to help small businesses make informed decisions, but I've realized I really miss the team dynamic. That's what brings me here today. I'm looking for a role where I can apply a growth mindset to solve more complex global issues, and I see EY as the best place to challenge myself and build that foundation.
Okay, let's pause. We'll stop right there.
Be honest. Did that sound robotic? I felt like I was just checking boxes. Past, present, future.
It was structured, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but not robotic. And here's why that worked so well. You used the past, present, future framework, which we actually see recommended in the EY Tell Me About Yourself materials, but the key isn't the structure itself. It's the signaling.
What was I signaling exactly?
Focus. A lot of candidates treat this question as an invitation to tell their whole life story, where they grew up, their hobbies, their dog's name.
Right.
You spoke for about 45 seconds. That signals respect for my time. You essentially gave me a trailer for the movie of your career.
So it's an icebreaker, not a memoir.
Exactly. Plus, you dropped keywords like creative collaborator and data-driven. As a recruiter, I am writing those down immediately. You gave me hooks to ask follow-up questions. You established a professional persona right out of the gate.
Okay, so short, punchy, and linear. I can do that. Let's turn up the heat a bit.
Back in character. That gives me a great overview. Obviously, there are a lot of firms you could apply to the other Big Four boutique firms. Why do you want to work for EY specifically?
That's a great question. For me, it comes down to purpose. I know every firm talks about excellence, but EY's purpose of building a better working world really resonates with me because it's about more than just the bottom line.
Right.
I was reading about EY's transformative leadership model, and the idea that you develop leaders who are driven by purpose really stuck out to me. I also want to work in an environment that prioritizes integrity, respect, and teaming.
Okay.
And I saw that recently EY has been heavily involved in analyzing the expectations for the Union Budget 2026, specifically regarding the agricultural sector's access to finance. That kind of macro-level impact is where I want to be.
Time out. That was interesting.
Interesting good or interesting bad? I felt like I was throwing a lot of proper nouns at you there.
And it's a high-risk, high-reward strategy. Let's break down the transformative leadership mentioned first.
Is that just a buzzword?
It is a buzzword, but it's their buzzword. Here's the insight. EY sells transformation to their clients, right? Digital transformation, financial transformation. If you reference their internal leadership model, you're signaling that you understand their core product.
So I'm not just saying I want to lead. I'm saying I want to lead the way you sell leadership.
Correct. It proves you read the career development documents and didn't just skim the homepage. Now let's talk about the Union Budget 2026 reference. You brought up agricultural finance.
Yeah, I found that in the insights section of the site. Was that too specific?
It was incredibly specific. If you do that, you better pray I don't ask you a technical follow-up question on agricultural yield.
Right, okay, so don't bring it up if I can't back it up.
Exactly. But assuming you can't, it's a huge power move. Most candidates just say, I like EY because you're prestigious, which is boring. By citing a specific report, you're proving you have a global mindset. You're showing me that you track the macroeconomic trends that actually affect our clients.
It moves the conversation from "I want a job" to "I am interested in the work you're doing right now."
Precisely. It differentiates you from the generic pile. Okay, now we're moving into phase two, the behavioral questions. This is where the rubber meets the road.
The dreaded "tell me about a time when" questions.
Yes. And we need to use the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. But I'm going to be listening for EY's values, specifically integrity, energy, and the courage to lead.
Okay, how about he?
At EY, integrity is one of our core values. Can you tell me about a time you demonstrated integrity or had to do the right thing in a difficult situation?
Sure. So in my final year university project, I was part of a team working on a consulting simulation for a local nonprofit.
Yeah.
We were under a tight deadline to deliver a budget recommendation. One of my team members realized we had miscalculated a cost projection, which made our strategy look way more profitable than it actually was. He suggested we just leave it out because the client probably wouldn't check the math that closely.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that would be misleading. So I stopped the submission process and spoke up. I explained to the team that while it might look good now, if the client acted on bad data, it would damage their operations and our reputation long term.
Right.
So I offered to pull an all-nighter to redo the projection with the correct data. The result was the team agreed. We submitted the corrected, less profitable projection, and the client actually thanked us for the honesty and realistic outlook. We ended up getting the highest grade for risk management.
Okay, cut.
I feel like that's the classic Boy Scout answer. Is it too cheesy?
It's not cheesy if it's true. And here is why that answer works for a Big Four firm specifically. You focus heavily on the action part, you spoke up. That hits the EY value of courage to lead perfectly.
It's hard to tell a story where you disagree with a teammate without sounding like a jerk, though.
That's the balance. You didn't say my teammate was an idiot. You said I explained the long-term risk. That's professional. But look at the result you gave. You didn't just say we got an A. You said the client thanked us for the honesty.
Why does that distinction matter so much?
Because in audit and consulting, the product isn't just the report. The product is trust. If you fudge the numbers, you destroy the product. By highlighting that the client valued your honesty, you're showing me you understand the business model of a professional services firm.
It's about protecting the brand.
Exactly. If you can't be trusted with a university project, I can't trust you with a Fortune 500 client's audit. Let's try another behavioral one. This one is about adaptability. In consulting, things go wrong constantly. I need to know if you crumble or pivot.
Hit me.
Consulting can be chaotic. Describe a time you had to handle multiple projects or a sudden change in workload. How did you manage it?
I experienced this during my internship last summer, actually. My direct supervisor had to take unexpected medical leave right in the middle of a launch week.
Wow.
Yeah. I suddenly had to pick up 3 of her client reports, in addition to my own workload, without missing any deadlines. I knew I couldn't just work harder. I had to work smarter. So I use a prioritization framework I call red, blue, green.
Okay.
Red for urgent client deliverables, blue for internal syncs, green for administrative tasks. I moved all green tasks to the weekend, but also leveraged technology. I used ChatGPT to help draft the initial outlines and skeletons for the reports to save hours of manual typing. Then I reviewed and refined them for accuracy.
Let me stop you right there.
The result was I submitted all reporting. Wait, was it the AI? Did I drop the AI bomb?
Whoa, pause the tape. Yes, you did.
Is that a death sentence in an interview?
This is a massive debate we have in the recruiting world right now. Some people say never admit it, but at EY, they are actively pushing an innovative mindset.
So it depends on how I frame it.
100%. If you said, I use ChatGPT to write the reports for me, I would hire the chatbot, not you.
Fair enough.
But you said, I used it to draft outlines to save manual typing, then I refined them. You positioned AI as a tool for efficiency, not a crutch for laziness. You showed you are tech forward. And I also loved the red, blue, green framework.
I threw that in to show I'm organized.
It's vital. Giving me a visual framework tells me you have a system for chaos. Frameworks are safety. Okay, let's move to phase 3. Competency and case-like questions. These are a bit more abstract. I want to see your global and analytics mindset in action.
These are the ones where there isn't necessarily a right answer, correct?
There's no right answer, but there are definitely wrong ones. Here is the scenario. EY looks for people with a global, innovative, and analytics mindset. Imagine you are placed on a project in an industry you know nothing about. How do you approach solving a complex problem you've never seen before?
My approach is never to guess. I believe in making informed decisions based on data. Step one, I would start internally. EY has a collaborative culture, so I would reach out to colleagues or internal knowledge repositories to see what similar work has been done globally.
Mm-hmm.
Step two, I'd conduct external research using industry publications to understand the current landscape. And step three, I would perform data analysis on whatever client data is available. Essentially, I would combine the teaming aspect of EY with rigorous data analysis to build a solution that isn't just a gut feeling, but is backed by evidence to build trust in capital markets.
Stop there. That was a textbook safe answer, but it hit all the right notes.
I felt like I was leaning pretty hard on the I'd ask for help angle. Does that make me look incompetent?
Not a Big Four firm. If you said I'd figure it out all by myself, you'd look arrogant and honestly inefficient. The smartest person in the room knows that someone in the London or Hong Kong office has probably already solved this problem.
So teaming isn't just about being nice, it's about efficiency.
Exactly. Why reinvent the wheel? EY is a global network, and you showed you understand the value of that network. Okay, one more of these. You have a client who is very resistant to a change you are recommending, even though your data proves it will save them money. They are pushing back hard. How do you handle it?
I think the key here is empathy. I wouldn't just keep throwing the spreadsheet at them. I'd stop and listen to understand why they are resistant. Is it fear of job loss? Is it a legacy system they built?
Right.
Once I understand the emotional blocker, I would use the data to paint a picture of the future state versus the current state. I'd try to make them a partner in the solution rather than feeling like I'm imposing it on them. I'd reassure them that we are in this together, teaming to make their department look good.
Okay, deep breath. That was the perfect consultant answer.
I try to avoid being argumentative.
And you succeeded. This tests your emotional intelligence. We hire a lot of smart people who fail because they are right, but they are annoying about it.
Being right isn't enough.
Not if the client fires you. You demonstrated inclusive leadership. If you can't bring people along on the journey, your data is useless. Okay, final phase. And honestly, this is where a lot of candidates drop the ball because they think the interview is over.
The "do you have any questions for me" section.
Yes. If you say no, I think you covered it. You just failed the interview. It shows zero curiosity, zero research, and zero ambition. You need to interview me.
Okay, let me try a couple that I prepped.
Well, that covers my list. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, actually. I was reading about the career progression paths, and I saw something about the Developing Future Fit Managers program. I'm curious, how does a junior consultant eventually enter that track, and what skills are prioritized for that kind of growth?
Pause. That is a killer question.
Is it because I mentioned a specific program again?
Yes. But more importantly, look at the timeline. You aren't asking about what you'll be doing on day one. You're asking about becoming a manager.
So I'm signaling retention.
Huge signal. Hiring is expensive. We want people who stay. By asking about the Future Fit program, you're telling me I plan to be here in 5 years and I want to be a leader. You're a safe investment.
Okay, here's my backup question. This one feels a bit bolder. In your experience, what is it that top-performing employees at EY do differently in their first year to achieve success compared to those who just do okay?
Boom. That's the one.
I feel like this one appeals to the interviewer's ego a bit.
It does, because everyone wants to give advice. But mainly it shows you are a high achiever. You aren't asking, how do I not get fired? You're asking, how do I become a star? It changes the dynamic from applicant to aspiring high performer.
So we've gone through the 4 phases: warm-up, behavioral competency, and questions. It feels like a mental marathon.
It is a marathon, but it's one you can train for. Let's break character fully now and do a quick debrief. For everyone listening, what are your top 3 takeaways from the candidate's perspective?
Number 1 structure is safety. Having a framework like past, present, future, or STAR stopped me from rambling. Number 2, values need proof. I couldn't just say I have integrity, I had to have a story ready that proved it. And number 3, specifics over generics. Dropping union budget 2026 or future fit managers made me look like an insider.
Absolutely. From my side as a recruiter, here are my top 3. Number 1, mindset over skill set. I can teach you Excel, but I can't teach you to be curious. Number 2, it's a two-way street. The questions you ask at the end show your intent. And number 3, be human.
Let your personality shine through, right?
Exactly. We spend long hours together in consulting. I need to know that I'm going to enjoy sitting in an airport lounge with you. Which brings me to my final thought for everyone listening.
Let's hear it.
We live in a world that is rapidly being filled with AI and automation. But in a Big Four interview, they aren't hiring a robot. They are hiring you. In a world of AI, your unique human ability to connect with a team, to show empathy to a resistant client, and to lead with integrity when the numbers don't look good, That is your biggest competitive advantage.
I love that. Use the tech, but keep the humanity. Well, this has been a massive help. I feel ready to walk into that interview room. Thanks for guiding us through it.
Happy to help. Go get that offer.
And thank you to everyone listening to this deep dive into the EY interview. We'll see you in the next one.